Nowadays, computer graphics is widespread all over the world. The term has been used in a broad sense to describe almost everything on computers that is not text or sound. Typically, it refers to several different things. Today, the guest in our studio is an expert from United Kingdom, Russell Lee, and we talk about the issues related to computer graphics software in mass media. Hello, Mr. Russell. Welcome to our studio. Program The Point of View. Is it your first visit to Uzbekistan, and a little bit about your expressions? Have you ever been to our ancient cities and history?
Well, this is my second visit to Uzbekistan, and I came in August last year, also for training on computer graphics for the staff here at NTRC. So I didn't get a chance. I was only here for 4 days, and this time I've been here for 2 weeks. So also only in Tashkent. I really wanted to take a visit to Samarkand, to Bukhara, but I had a cold last weekend, so excuse me, so it means that I couldn't visit these places. Of course, I would love to. And last time I came, I saw the mosque here and this weekend we went for a walk around the city, so it's very beautiful to see it.
Can you explain us in detail the basics of computer graphics and a few words about the history of this direction?
Well, that could take a long time, but we can talk a little bit about computer graphics. So ever since really computers were invented, you had a screen, you need to see what you're inputting to the computer. So this was, computer graphics started from the beginning really of computers. But of course, really the artistic design or the artistic direction of computers started shortly after that. And I think it was probably 1960 when somebody came with the first phrase of computer graphics. And then they started to think about the display and how you see something on the screen. That's developed a long way, of course. You see in movies, in every television studio, you see computer graphics. So what it normally means is that we use a tool, a software, to interface with the hardware, which is a graphics card, to create graphics. And the most important thing with what we do, with what Ross Video do with Expression, is that it's real time. So if, for instance, you were watching a movie like Lord of the Rings with one of the computer-generated characters, just to do one frame or 1/25th of a second would take like a day to create this in the graphics in the computer. But what we do with Ross, with Expression, is to create graphics instantly. We want them in real time. And that means these graphics can be linked to the financial data. We can link it to the stock market. So only in the last 20 years in television, they started to use graphics in real time. And that means that we could be sitting here now and we could ask for some data related to the financial markets, or you could do a live program, for example, an election. In an election, as the votes come in, the graphics have to change in real time. So it's a very different type of computer graphics. So there's rendered graphics and real-time graphics. So the work we're doing here with your company is to understand the real-time graphics and help you to understand how to get that on the screen. And this helps to engage the audience. So now it's going very fast in lots of directions, but I think that's my idea of the history in a very short time.
Okay. We know that you are on official visit in Uzbekistan and you're conducting workshops for the employees of the national TV and radio company. What do you find challenging while teaching your colleagues in our country?
I think obviously the first big challenge is the language, because we have a translator helping us, and they translate into Russian and then Uzbek. So sometimes there is a difficulty to understand simple phrases that we have used for many years, like keyframes is something that everybody in animation and computer graphics understands. But that might be a different word in Uzbek or a different word. And so we use a term mask, which is to cover. Well, this is a mask, it's easy. But for some of the words, it's very challenging for them to understand really what those words are. And the other issue is that the groups are very different. So some people come and they've never operated any computer graphics before. And some people have experience with Adobe, After Effects, etc. So if they have this experience, then it helps, and it's much easier for them to start learning. But everybody has been enthusiastic, and enthusiasm obviously goes a long way for this project.
Okay. What does a beginner need to know about software before he or she attends your course? What are the benefits?
So really, to understand computer graphics, to read a little bit about the history of computer graphics. When we think about graphics, we have different axes. We have, we have X and Y. And then when we developed in computer graphics the depth, the third dimension, we had Z. So you have to understand a little bit about the physics of X, Y, and Z. And it's also very good to understand something about mathematics. And actually in physics, if you look at Sir Isaac Newton, the Z is up. But in computer graphics, we have the Z this way. So it's interesting that that's developed because of the software at first was not 3D. The first software that came for computer graphics was only two-dimensional. So now when we have 3 dimensions, we have to think of this. And obviously, if I said to you, take a piece of paper and draw, it's relatively easy. But if I told you make the same thing in clay, it's much more difficult. So you can see that the challenges are very difficult to go from 2D to 3D. So really to read a lot about computer graphics, 3 dimensions, and the different axes that you have to deal with.
Okay. Mr. Russell, can you tell us about the main differences of the software program using in your practice and software in our media?
So the main difference with the ROS expression software that we have here is the ability to create. You can design the graphics in the same software that you play out the graphics. So now in the gallery, we call it the gallery, which is the place where all the cameras are controlled from and everything. You can then say, I want to have a list of graphics and I want to play them out.
Okay.
But in the same software, you can also have the layout and the designer. So it means very quickly if the director says, I need a new graphic.
Okay.
If you have the designer there, or the designer and the playout person understand the same thing, they can very quickly go to the design, change the design, make some changes, and play it out on air. So it's really very nice to have that combination. And also the Ross Video make the graphics, but they also make a lot of the other equipment. They make the vision mixer, so which chooses which cameras are selected. So that means that they can integrate very well. You can have the graphics integrated with the vision mixer. This makes it much easier for the director and the staff in the control room to be able to make the graphics really nice and really play out very easily.
Understand. Okay, is it necessary to install extra hardware to work with the soft?
Yeah, so the software will run it, but it needs, because of the nature of the program and what it's doing is manipulating a lot of pixels and polygons, which pixels you understand, polygons are 3D pixels, like 3D pixels. So in order to do that, it has to do it very fast. So it means that you have to have a very fast graphics card. You need to have, normally there's a manufacturer called NVIDIA, and they make very, very nice graphics cards. Predominantly it's come from the gaming industry. So, you know, the PlayStation and Xbox, those graphics cards have been developed so much because of that technology. So you really need that, a laptop for the design, and then you need special hardware with that graphics card and also video output to go out to the studio. So you need a very nice, very well specified hardware to play out the software, yeah.
Okay. How much time does it take to learn the basics of the software?
Well, I would say if you were practicing, you know, a couple of hours a day, within a month, you would be proficient enough to make simple graphics. I think it's like anything. If you practice makes perfect.
Okay.
So yeah, the best thing is if you want to learn anything, practice. You know, read, study, and just practice over and over again. So within a month, I think you can be a beginner, and then within a year you can be, you know, intermediate.
The professional one.
Well, professional takes maybe longer, but yeah, it's of course it's about practicing. And the hardest thing is if somebody gives you a project, if the director says to you, I need this and these graphics, then you have to work hard to create it. That's the best way to learn, is to be under pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You finished your lessons?
Yes, it was my last day.
Yes, you will go back to your country. And how do you think, were the organized training sessions completed effectively?
Yeah, of course. The challenge, as I said, was the language, and the challenge was also the difficulty with the different levels of people, the different levels of and some were directors, journalists, some were operators. So it was a difficult thing to organize with so many people. But I have to say the enthusiasm is the main thing. And of course, with the good enthusiasm and a good attitude, then anybody can learn.
Thank you for coming to our studio. We hope that your experience helped to develop the knowledge and skills of our colleagues. This was the program Point of View, and our guest was an expert from the United Kingdom, Russell Lee. Goodbye.